On March 10, 2025, a devastating earthquake struck the Southeast Asian nation of Myanmar. This natural disaster would go down in history as one of the most destructive events the country had ever faced. The people of Myanmar, who were going about their daily lives, were suddenly thrown into a state of panic and chaos as the ground beneath them began to shake violently. The initial tremor, registering a powerful 7.7 on the Richter scale, ripped through the heart of the country. This magnitude of earthquake is considered major and can cause serious damage in areas several tens of miles across. The sheer force of the quake was felt far and wide, sending shockwaves that reverberated through the entire region. Its epicenter was located in the Sagaing region, a densely populated area with a rich history and vibrant culture. The Sagaing region is known for its historical significance and is home to many cultural landmarks, making the impact of the earthquake even more profound. The region's dense population meant that the human toll was particularly high, with countless lives disrupted in an instant. This first quake was only the beginning. Aftershocks, some nearly as powerful as the initial tremor, continued to rock the region for days. These aftershocks, which are smaller earthquakes that follow the main shock, added to the already overwhelming sense of fear and uncertainty. Each new tremor brought fresh waves of panic, as people feared for their safety and the safety of their loved ones. These relentless tremors exacerbated the damage and sowed fear and uncertainty among the traumatized population. The continuous shaking made it difficult for rescue and relief efforts to proceed smoothly, as emergency responders had to navigate through unstable structures and debris. The psychological impact on the people was immense, as they struggled to cope with the ongoing threat of more quakes. The earthquakes did not discriminate, impacting cities, towns, and villages across a wide swath of Myanmar. From bustling urban centers to quiet rural communities, the destruction was widespread. The infrastructure in many areas was severely damaged, leaving people without access to essential services such as electricity, water, and medical care. The impact was immediate and catastrophic. Buildings shook violently, walls crumbled, and roofs collapsed, trapping people beneath the debris. Rescue teams worked tirelessly to pull survivors from the rubble, but the scale of the disaster made their task incredibly challenging. The scenes of destruction were heart-wrenching, as families searched desperately for their missing loved ones. The ground beneath Myanmar shifted, leaving deep fissures in its wake. These cracks in the earth were a stark reminder of the immense power of the earthquake. The landscape was forever altered, with some areas rendered unrecognizable. The physical scars on the land mirrored the emotional scars carried by the people who had lived through the ordeal. The once familiar landscape was transformed into a scene of chaos and destruction. Streets that were once bustling with activity were now filled with debris and rubble. The aftermath of the earthquake was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, as people came together to support one another and begin the long process of rebuilding their lives. The road to recovery would be long and arduous, but the strength and determination of the Myanmar people shone through in the face of adversity. The ancient city of Mandalay, Myanmar's second-largest city and a cultural hub, was among the hardest hit. Known for its rich history and vibrant culture, Mandalay has always been a beacon of Myanmar's heritage. The city, which once thrived with the hustle and bustle of daily life, now stands in stark contrast to its former self. Its historic pagodas, revered temples, and bustling markets, which once drew tourists and pilgrims alike, lay in ruins. These sites, which were not only places of worship but also symbols of the city's identity, have been reduced to mere shadows of their former glory. The once bustling markets filled with the sounds of vendors and shoppers are now eerily silent. The earthquake's brutal force did not spare these architectural treasures, symbols of Myanmar's rich heritage. The intricate designs and craftsmanship that once adorned these structures are now buried under piles of debris. The loss of these cultural landmarks is a blow not just to the city but to the entire nation, as they represented the heart and soul of Myanmar's history. The Sagaing region, closer to the epicenter, experienced even more widespread devastation. This region, known for its serene landscapes and traditional villages, has been transformed into a scene of utter destruction. The once peaceful villages now resemble war zones, with homes and infrastructure completely obliterated. Entire villages were flattened, their traditional wooden homes reduced to rubble. These homes, often passed down through generations, held not just physical belongings but also memories and legacies. The destruction of these homes signifies the loss of a way of life that has been cherished for centuries. Roads and bridges, vital lifelines connecting communities, were twisted and broken, cutting off access to essential supplies and medical aid. The destruction of this infrastructure has isolated many communities, making it difficult for rescue and relief operations to reach those in need. The challenge of rebuilding these connections is immense, and the impact on daily life is profound. The human cost of the disaster was staggering. Rescue operations are ongoing, with teams working tirelessly to find survivors amidst the rubble. The resilience and determination of the people are evident as they come together to support one another in this time of crisis. Thousands of people were killed or injured, their lives forever altered by the tragedy. Families are mourning the loss of loved ones, and the emotional toll is immeasurable. The scenes of human suffering are heart-wrenching, with many struggling to come to terms with the enormity of the disaster. Hospitals, already grappling with limited resources, were overwhelmed with the influx of injured. Makeshift medical facilities have been set up to cope with the demand, but the strain on healthcare workers is immense. The need for medical supplies and personnel is critical, and the response from the international community will be crucial in the coming days. The air was thick with dust, the stench of destruction, and the sound of human cries for help. The once vibrant streets are now filled with debris and chaos, as people search for loved ones and try to salvage what little they can from the wreckage. The road to recovery will be long and arduous, but the spirit of the people of Mandalay and Sagaing remains unbroken. As the dust settled, the true extent of the devastation began to reveal itself. A desperate race against time began. Emergency responders and volunteers alike sprang into action, their faces etched with determination and urgency. Rescue workers, many of them volunteers, toiled tirelessly amidst the rubble, searching for survivors. They worked in shifts, ensuring that the search continued around the clock. They used their bare hands, shovels, and any tools they could find to move debris, often improvising with makeshift tools when necessary. The sound of shovels scraping against concrete and the sight of hands bloodied from the effort became all too common. Their efforts were fueled by a glimmer of hope that they might find someone alive. Every faint sound, every possible sign of life was a beacon of hope in the midst of despair. However, the scale of the disaster presented immense challenges. Entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble, and the sheer magnitude of the destruction was overwhelming. The sheer volume of debris made it difficult to reach those trapped. Heavy machinery was often unavailable or unable to navigate the narrow, debris-filled streets, forcing rescuers to rely on their physical strength and determination. The ongoing aftershocks posed a constant threat, endangering both rescue workers and survivors. Each tremor brought with it the risk of further collapses, making the already perilous task even more dangerous. Communication lines were down, hampering coordination efforts. The lack of reliable communication made it difficult to organize and direct the rescue operations effectively. Despite these obstacles, stories of courage and compassion emerged. Acts of heroism were witnessed daily, as individuals risked their own lives to save others. Ordinary citizens, their own lives shattered, joined the rescue efforts, helping their neighbors and strangers alike. The sense of community and solidarity was palpable, as people came together to support one another in their time of need. Doctors and nurses worked around the clock, tending to the injured in makeshift clinics. These medical professionals, often working with limited supplies and under extreme conditions, provided critical care to those in need. The spirit of unity and resilience shone through the darkness. In the face of unimaginable tragedy, the human spirit proved to be unbreakable, as communities rallied together to rebuild and recover.